What's up, everybody? I just did a video earlier today on Baldoni's lawyer breaking down the lawsuit they filed against the New York Times and the fact that they are going to file Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds, among many other defendants. And there's another clip where that same lawyer spoke to TMZ, and this, no joke, may be some of the best work I've ever seen done by TMZ. And we're going to watch this clip and react to it. It's a short one, but let's get to it.
You are about to file a lawsuit against Blake's publicist, Leslie Sloan. Are we correct? And if so, is it a similar allegation to the New York Times case?
She'll definitely be sued. There's no question about that. I mean, it's just a matter of when and for what, and whether she's included with others or not. And frankly, I'm not prepared to give up our legal strategy. But you can rest assured that
I want the legal strategy, right? I want the legal strategy. I want to know how and what they did and what causes of action are going to work, what the damages are, how you can explain exactly what was wrong that they did, not frowned upon or not moral or things that we wouldn't like people to do to us, but what causes of action specifically do you have? That's what I can't wait to read in these lawsuits where he's like, just wait, just wait. Well, we're still waiting.
based on the investigation we've done, the text messages we have, the receipts that'll go along with that complaint, she's dead in the water.
I get the allegation.
She's dead in the water, he says. So again, this is not just responding to Blake Lively. It's not just defending Baldoni, which I get that. If you have receipts in the text message that prove that what Blake Lively said is a lie, not true, didn't happen, I get that defense argument. But what claims are you going to be successful on?
Really do understand.
She's dead in the water.
I get the allegation. I really do understand that. But when it comes to publicists trying to manage a story, plant a story, skew a story, kill a story, we've seen that from every publicist in this town. So I don't understand why this case is different.
So where is the illegality? Where is the cause of action civilly here? What is it? That's what we're waiting to read. That's why I said from the very jump when we read Blake Lively's lawsuit and the fact that it had more to do with employment allegations and the retaliation than it did with really explaining why the smear campaign or puffing up certain articles or having people comment on certain articles. I've been saying from the beginning, is this going to be a novel case? Is this where we're going to find out what's legal, what's not legal, what's allowed, what's not allowed? What are people doing and can they be sued for it? That's going to be a big question. Where does that come in when it comes to publicists and spinning stories and puffing up stories and suppressing stories?
Publicist in this town. So I don't understand why this case is different.
I think you'd have to ask Blake Lively and her people, because they're the ones that started this case. And they started this case by claiming there was a smear campaign.
What? I thought this guy crushed the interviews that we watched earlier. That answer confuses me. We're going to back up and listen to that question again. He's like, where is it? What's wrong with this? How are they going to get sued? What is your legal theory? And he's like, you'll have to ask Blake Lively's team because they started it. So it's like they started it. We're going to respond in kind with a similar lawsuit saying, no, you did it. It's like, I don't understand. So what is wrong? What are your causes of action? What are your legal theories? And he's like, you'll have to ask Blake Lively's. That's at least how I'm listening to it. You guys tell me if I'm wrong. And again, put aside the facts of, who you think is right, who you think is wrong. This is just purely coming down to smear campaigns, PR, stuff a lot of people don't like, a lot of stuff we don't know, right? We're part of the people getting worked, right? They're putting it in our face. They're putting titles. They're making people comment on it. And we're like, oh, and we're just listening to it like, oh yeah, this does sound bad. Or, oh, this does sound good. And that does happen to us in today's society. Is it wrong? Should it be wrong? How is it going to be attacked legally? That's the question he has, because that's kind of how it's always worked. And he's the expert at it, right?
Plant a story, skew a story, kill a story. We've seen that from every publicist in this town. So I don't understand why this case is different.
I think you'd have to ask Blake Lively and her people, because they're the ones that started this case.
So again, why is this different? This sounds like stuff all publicists do. So why are you suing their publicist? That's the question. And he's like, you have to ask Blake Lively's team because they did it first.
And they started this case by claiming there was a smear campaign. And what I'm about to show everyone, frankly, are the receipts that show it's not a smear campaign. As a matter of fact,
that's a defense argument. And I think maybe a really good one, right? That it wasn't a smear campaign. He wanted to support Blake, all the stuff we've talked about in our other videos that he thinks Baldoni can prove with these text messages and these emails and the receipts that he has, that he said the young kids call them the receipts. And that sounds like a great defense to the claims that she's making. But what claims are you bringing? And if you're going to call all these claims hogwash that Blake Lively's bringing and it doesn't fit, this is what publicists do. They're legally allowed to do all this stuff. But that's not what he's arguing because he's filing lawsuits as well for similar actions.
In fact, the smear campaign was started by Leslie Sloan and Stephanie Jones. And it's all right there for everyone to see.
Both sides tried to skew this story because we've
Interesting information.
been on the recipient end of that. Justin's team, Blake's team. We're on that receiving end. We've seen it. So that's the part I don't get.
Well,
both sides have tried to twist and turn and use this and pump up certain stories and get them to report certain things. TMZ knows it for a fact because they've been on the receiving end of it. And this is what we've also talked about is multiple things can be true in this case. And one of those multiple things that can be true is both of them tried to twist stories for themselves and against the other person, which again, feels like that shouldn't be a surprise. Like that's what happens in these PR battles when people don't like each other, especially celebrities with a lot of power and a lot of money. And there it is, confirmed from TMZ, who doesn't have a dog in the fight.
I'd say this, Harvey, you just kind of made yourself a witness. So what I would say is
I don't think he was like trying to threaten Harvey. I think he's saying like, well, good. Then you can come forward and explain how Blake Lively did this to Justin. And again, all of this I think would be really good information for this lawyer and his client defending against the lawsuits that are coming from Blake Lively. But how does it help the lawsuits they're bringing?
Well, that's okay. I'm okay with that because I could talk about things that Blake's team did to him and things that Justin's team did to Blake.
And he's like, don't threaten me with a good time. He's like, that's fine. If you really want to call me as a witness, it's not like I'm going to be all good for your client because both sides came at me with their publicists. Both sides wanted stories to be good about their people, which is what publicists do, bad about the other people. Now, if they're lying and if they're defaming people and if they're putting things out there that they know are false, then you have bigger issues. Then it can get into defamation, slander, libel, things like that. But just saying like, hey, run with this story somebody else wrote, writing an opinion piece, right? Based off fact or a good faith belief that something is true.
And I can talk about both.
You might be an expert witness, actually. And because you've been doing it for so long.
Because it sounds like something that we have seen for 19 years, Brian, that publicists,
that's what they do.
They create smear campaigns.
Yeah.
Is that what they do?
They do. I mean, Brian, that doesn't mean we buy it, but yes. And it's happened on both sides in the Blake Lively, Justin Baldoni war. Both.
So I'm not, A1 most understanding of celebrity gossip and what's going on, but like I'm pretty into sports. And what I'll say is same thing happens in sports. They fire a coach, and right after they fire a coach, smear campaign. Guy requests a trade. Right after he requests a trade, smear campaign. He's suspended. He's a problem in the locker room. A guy does something wrong, and they're like, oh, we don't want him on our team anymore. We don't want it to blow back on us. Smear campaigns happen all over the place, right? Politicians use smear campaigns. It's basically like how politics work, it feels like. So why is this case different?
Sides.
So that's good to know. But we'll see what the documents actually say, because that's what we have are documents. Documents actually don't lie. People do. And it's important that everyone sees all of the documents that are involved in the case, because there are people that have been destroyed as a result of the allegations that have been made so far in this case.
And again, because somebody, files a lawsuit against you doesn't give you the right to file a lawsuit back against them saying you can't do that to me. If they lie and if they go spread things that are lies and things like that, then fine. We can see how that would be illegal. And we know about that. And we've seen that in cases. But if it's just puffing up stories, giving people information that's true, sending them text messages, and they write a piece based on that text message, how are we going to regulate publicists spinning stories, right? And how is this different than so many other cases? That's why I want to read the legal documents. That's why I want to see the causes of action and what facts they have to prove the causes of action. Is it strong? Is it weak? Is it just out there for publicity and to fix their public image? I thought this clip was perhaps the best clip I've seen on this case yet. And like I said, perhaps the best work I've seen done by TMZ ever. And that's not hyperbole coming from me, at least. Hit the like button. Hopefully you guys like it. Let me know if you like some of the shorter form. Here we go. Thanks for watching another episode of The Lawyer You Know. If you enjoyed the episode, please hit the thumbs up and share with your friends who may be interested here on YouTube. And don't forget to subscribe. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. And don't forget to check out the Lawyer You Know podcast with new seasons dropping every quarter. If you have a case you want to talk to us about, if it's a personal injury case, wrongful death, catastrophic injury, car accident, or slip and fall case, please email us at lawyeryouknow@gmail.com. And of course, all these links I just mentioned are included in the description below on this episode and every episode. So until next time, this is Peter Tragos, the Lawyer You Know.